All right, boys and girls, when you are finished drawing, you may get your glue bottle, and I just picked this one up because I don't want you to think that you're going to come upon this perfect situation when you find your glue bottle. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to notice, are there any goobers? If there are, you just take your filthy fingers like mine, yours are probably clean, and just get that goober off of there. No goobers. Number two, you're going to open it up. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this, but when you twist an orange glue cap, this is when it's closed. You can do a little bit more, all the way open. You can expect that if you have it all the way open, when you squeeze out your glue, you're going to get a lot. So you may want to dial it back just a wee bit and try it out first. Now, I have an index card for each of you, and this is where I'd like for you to try it out first. So if you come, oh, this is almost awesome. Why don't I open it all the way up? Okay, if you come and you're getting like that, oh man, you either want to not squeeze as hard or you want to close it down. I can get a nice little line out of it, but I'm hardly squeezing as I go. So it's up to you. If you're a person who squeezes really hard, well, then you might be better to dial it back a little bit. Do that same squeeze. Now here, I went too far. So you're going to use this index card, not the table and not your artwork, to try it out. That's a little bit too thin. You get the idea. Okay, so that's just about right. Now, I'm going to come over to my piece, and I'm going to start to go over it. Now, I am actually touching the glue bottle to the paper. I'm going slow enough that I'm not like making these big little like threads of glue coming off. But if you notice here, I'm pulling this and I squeeze as I drag. I'm trying to think, some people get kind of like this, like they're going so hard that they're working so hard that they end up with this wiggle. If you end up with the wiggle, I would recommend that you stand up and just try to move just a little faster. If you're going like this, like super fast, you're going to end up with a mess. But if you're going like this and just moving along steady as she goes, that's going to be great. Now, usually you want to pull it to yourself. When you start to push the glue, you're going to end up with that little groove there, which is not the end of the world. I'm trying to think, if you are doing a dot like this and you go like this, do you see how if you don't stop the glue, you're going to end up with this big trail? You want to avoid that. Some kids were doing a thing where they were holding the glue bottle up, squeezing, and just letting the glue drop down to the table. You can do that. It's just a wee bit harder. I don't know if you can see how I'm doing that. But if that technique works for you, that's a good way to go too. That way, when you end, you're just going to do a little tap so that it stops coming out. Okay? Now, something to consider. When you're starting to run out of time, remember, all you're trying to do today is come up with the basic outlines. Next week, you're going to be able to add lots more details with or without glue lines. So you're basically just trying to come up with the basic map so that next week when you come, you have these grooves already made with the glue, and then you'll be able to add in your pastel, which will make life a lot easier. Now, last thing, let's say you have little tiny details like this. That is so small, that's going to become annoying with the glue. I would recommend that you just do the circle and leave those little dots for next week. Even something like this, a swirl, I'm glad I made my swirl big. If I had made them tiny, it would be really hard for me to do that. Do you see that? So when you're drawing, you want to try really hard to make your stuff big and save the little stuff for next week.